here's how to spot some fallacies by drawing. Welcome to Critical Thinking Scan, where we look at how you can think about any faith-challenging message and arrive at a biblical, logical conclusion yourself. I'm Patricia Engler, and today let's look at how to use a type of reasoning called categorical logic. And all that means is logic about categories. Using categorical statements like, all cats are mammals or some emails are scams. Like other arguments we've looked at, some forms of categorical logic are valid, while others lead to fallacies. Take, for instance, the argument, all dogs are animals, some animals are leopards, therefore some dogs are leopards. Clearly, that's not logical. But how can you prove it? That's where Venn diagrams come in. Overlapping circles you can draw to see whether categorical statements work together logically. To see how this works, let's talk about the different types of categorical statements. In each case, the first category named in a categorical statement is called the subject term, represented with the letter S. And the second category is called the predicate term, represented with the letter P. So in the example, all cats are mammals, S is cats and P is mammals. Each statement can be drawn as two overlapping circles, one for S and one for P. And there are 4 ways to fill the circles in, representing 4 basic types of categorical statements. Form 1 is all S are P. For example, all penguins are birds. You can diagram that by shading in all the S circle except for where it overlaps with P. The dark shading means that nothing is in that category. So you can think of the shading as meaning the lights are out, so nobody's home. In this case, there are no cats which are not mammals. Form 2 is no S are P. For instance, no birds are insects. You can diagram that by shading the overlap between the 2 circles. Form number 3 is some S are P. For instance, some fossils are dinosaurs. You diagram this by drawing an X in the overlap region to show at least one member of S is also a member of P. Finally, form 4 is some S are not P. For instance, some scientists are not evolutionists. You can diagram that by drawing an X in the S circle outside the overlapping area to show that at least one member of S is not a member of P. So those are the 4 basic types of statements. Now, let's say you have an argument made of 3 such statements, like this. 1. Some creationists use outdated arguments. 2. All outdated arguments are pseudoscience. Therefore, 3. All creationists rely on pseudoscience. Incidentally, you can find a list of outdated arguments and other arguments to avoid linked to this video. Alright, well let's diagram this argument to see if it's valid. First, we can draw 3 overlapping circles, one for each category in the argument. We can label these as creationists, people who use outdated arguments, and people who rely on pseudoscience. Next, we draw the first 2 statements on the diagram. For statement 1, some creationists use outdated arguments, we draw an X right in the middle of the overlap between the appropriate circles. For all outdated arguments are pseudoscience, we'd shade in all the outdated argument bubble except where it overlaps with the other circles. Now, we look at the diagram. In a valid argument, we'll be able to see the argument's conclusion on the diagram after drawing the premises. So, does the diagram show that all creationists rely on pseudoscience? No. The creationist bubble would have to be all shaded except for its overlap with the pseudoscience bubble to show that. Therefore, this is an invalid argument. Now, try diagramming the argument, all humans are descendants of Adam. All descendants of Adam are sinful beings. Therefore, all humans are sinful beings. Go ahead and diagram the first 2 statements, and you'll notice that the third statement, all humans are sinful beings, is already apparent from the diagram, because the only unshaded part of the human circle overlaps with the sinner's circle. In other words, the diagram shows the argument's conclusion logically follows from the premises. Therefore, the argument is valid. There are a few tough cases that can happen with diagrams, which you can find explained in the notes for this video. Meanwhile, for more on how to think critically about faith-challenging messages, you can access my other CT Scan episodes packed with tactics, tips, and tools that helped me as a Christian student at secular university. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's Patricia. Just wanted to let you know that if you like these videos, a free, easy way to help Answers in Genesis Canada produce more content and equip more people to defend their faith is to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, click the bell, and of course share these resources. I know you might hear that kind of thing a lot, but the reason these actions are so important is they inform social media algorithms to help these videos reach more people who can benefit from them. And that's especially helpful because advertising is super expensive. But this way, even media platforms which are often unfriendly towards biblical content become tools to promote gospel outreach for free. And if you're on board to share this message of biblical authority and want to give, you can also make a one-time donation or become a monthly supporter by clicking the link below. Thank you so much.